Hi kids, today we're going to talk about primary sources. Ooh. Well, a primary source is a first-hand account of the past. What does that mean exactly? Well, a primary source could be a death certificate, it could be a birth certificate, a biography, a diary, grandma's kitchen utensils, a piece of artwork, or a whole bunch of other things that happened at that moment. If a primary source is something someone wrote or made from that time period, then what is a secondary source? That's confusing. A secondary source is anything that was written after the event, such as a textbook. So, is a death certificate a primary or a secondary source? Well, it would be primary because it was written at the time of the death of the person, and that's what makes it primary. What about a diary? Is that a primary or a secondary source? What do you think? The diary is a primary source because someone was writing about an event that took place at that moment. And finally, what about a textbook? Is that a primary or secondary source? What do you think? Well, a textbook would be secondary because it was written by people who were not there and who did not witness the event, you see, so that's secondary. So how is the information of a primary source different from that of a secondary source? Well, secondary sources tend to have a bias. And what exactly is a bias? A bias is when a person has a one-side point of view. He or she has not looked at both sides of the argument and concluded that one side is more correct than the other. A primary source is like a witness to a car accident, and he or she can tell you exactly what they saw. This is more an accurate view of events. So you have seen what a primary and secondary sources is. You've seen what bias is. Now let's see what if you can determine what a primary and secondary source is.
Created using Powtoon.